In this video, we rank all 107 Destiny 2 exotics in the biggest tier list we've had on the channel to date. And this was incredibly difficult to put together because every weapon fills some sort of niche in the sandbox. Some weapons are good in very specific situations, while others are more generally useful to the wider player base and make playing your day-to-day Destiny activities significantly easier. So in this video, we rank all 107 of them to try and figure out which are the best of the best. But before we dive in, this video is brought to you by Manscaped, the global men's lifestyle brand that is trusted by more than 8 million men worldwide. The Performance Package 4.0 is an absolute game changer, featuring the Lawnmower 4.0, which comes equipped with a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. And it even comes equipped with an LED spotlight of the Traveler for a more precise shave in those tough-to-reach areas. After all, we're Destiny players and we need to protect our cabals at all costs. So go to manscaped.com today and get 20% off with free international shipping when you use code ABOVE20 at checkout. That's 20% off with free shipping when you use code ABOVE20 at manscaped.com. Thank you so much to Manscaped for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the tier list. We're going to be doing a PVE tier list for exotic weapons in D2. There will always be the caveat that double special weapons are going to make a lot of these weapons useless, but we're not judging them based on, I guess, like, that is a factor, but I don't think we can take, like, oh, we'll just run double special as, like, oh, well, Ace of Spades is then F, because you're just never, ever going to use it. I guess that's kind of the logic that I'm going to be going with. There are 3 exotics missing from this list, by the way, chat. The Centrifuge, Navigator, and Wicked Implement, but we'll just pretend like they're on the list, and we'll rate them, and we'll just Photoshop those in. So we're going to go through all of these relatively quickly. I'll give a couple high-level notes, but I don't think there's going to be, like, a ton of controversy with the list. I think a lot of the top ones are pretty straightforward. So we're just going to start top to bottom. So Ace of Spades first. I feel like it's a B tier exotic. With the hand cannon buff next season, it's going to be even better. A lot of people are saying that exotic hand cannons won't get the buff. There's nowhere in the This Week at Destiny that it was stated that exotic hand cannons won't receive the same buff. From what I've seen, I don't think that's true. I think currently Ace is B. Next season, you could probably make an argument for A, but right now it is hard to give up an exotic slot for primary weapons, especially if they don't stun intrinsically in endgame PvE. Anarchy, chat. I would probably either put it top B or very low A. I think in most PvE, you're probably going to be using it a hell of a lot more than Ace of Spades. Arbalist. If this was like a season or 2 ago, I would have said S+ or S. I think it's probably an S tier weapon, mainly because it does run special ammo, and Wishender pretty much does the same job as a primary, which enables your loadouts a lot more. So I think it's personally S, because there are very few weapons, to me personally, that hit the S+ tier. Bad Juju. So right now, I think Bad Juju goes down in C, strictly because, like, even though it's a decent weapon, one, we're getting supers so quickly right now that, like, Bad Juju's exotic perk doesn't really, which, like, it generates more super energy than other weapons on kill, is still really good. But, like, dude, I could also just throw 1 arc grenade, kill like 15 enemies, and get like a third of my super with ashes to assets. Black Talon, I also think is just like a C tier exotic. I'd put Talon in Y. I keep forgetting Black Talon exists. You think it goes in Y? I don't think it's that bad. Like, for reference, if we were gonna put a weapon in the Y tier, for me, Mida Multi-Tool would be like, literally, why would you ever run that? Borealis. I remember when people were on the cope that, like, snipers were getting buffed and you were gonna be able to use this in GMs. I'd put this down in Y. I just don't see it get used literally ever. And I think it's such a cool concept for a weapon. I just don't think it has a place. And actually, now that I mention it, I think I'm going to put it in, like, very, very low C. Because, like, Cerberus +1 and Mida Multi-Tool, I feel like, are just a tier below. They're just significantly worse. Like, Cerberus +1 is just literally an unusable weapon in PvE, in my opinion. Cold Heart?
I would say I would probably put this one might be a little controversial. I would maybe put this one up in A because of the amount of ionic traces that it generates with arc builds is actually nuts. Like it's like really, really cool. Crimson is a Y tier weapon. Like I just don't know why I would ever use that. Darcy. Again, I don't think it's in the Y tier. I think these are like a severe cut under everything else. It did get a buff. It's again though, it's a heavy weapon, and I don't think you would ever use that. It doesn't serve a purpose, so why? Yeah, I mean that's true. Deathbringer, chat. Deathbringer is underrated on damage, but hard to pull off. Yeah, that's the thing. So like this weapon actually has potential. It is harder to use, but the DPS is actually kind of nutty if you're able to pull it off. Why haven't you put the class-specific glaives in Y yet? R-squared, great question, my man. We haven't gotten to these yet, but the 3 class-specific glaives, I literally cannot imagine a scenario as they currently are balanced in the sandbox where I would ever run an exotic glaive and give up my exotic slot to run them. Divinity is our first S+ tier weapon. Even post-nerf, this weapon enables you to just, you know, people who can't hit their shots or just need an easy target to focus on damage in a day 1 raid setting. And now, like, with the Cenotaph helm and GMs, like, you can use div plus the Cenotaph helmet and have unlimited special ammo, and you never need to reload. It's crazy how strong it is. What are we saying about Ariana's Vow, chat? This one's interesting because it's going to get buffed by 75% against majors next season. I think it's a low A tier weapon, especially when you consider the buffs next season. Fighting Lion. I think factoring in that Fighting Lion isn't bugged anymore, like people will have that impression on it because of Hypernet Current. I don't think it's as strong as Anarchy, Ace, or Deathbringer, but it's not a bad weapon. I would like it definitely is usable. Graviton Lance just got buffed off of a crispy buff. If I were to put it somewhere, I think right now it's like top of A. It's really good, but then you're giving up other aspects of your loadout to make it work, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's a very good weapon. The buff was insane. Hard Light. I would argue that it goes in Y tier, bro. I think Hard Light needs a substantial buff in PVE. All right, chat, Izanagi's Burden. It's either the top of S tier or it's an S+ tier. No other weapon does what Izanagi's Burden does. It's like instant 125k burst damage. Jotun, I don't think it's as unusable as the other ones down below. Like we've used it in GMG before, but I'll probably put it like in C. What are we saying about Le Monarch, chat? I think it would either be above Graviton Lance or low S tier because it does intrinsic overload. It also lingers poison on a target. It's a really strong weapon. Legend of Acreus. This is a very weird one. It has its niches. Acreus is a very bizarre weapon because it's not used that often, but when it is, it's really good. I feel like Acreus is high B. It actually does really solid damage. Dude, it's a pretty versatile weapon. I would probably go high A. Lord of Wolves got buffed recently. I still think it's like a top C weapon at best. Here's a couple, 3 in a row. These are going to be really interesting ones. Chat, Lumina. You get the orbs that track towards you, and they give you a buff that allows you to then shoot a buff when un-ADS at your teammates to buff them by 35% with their damage. It's very, very good in the hands of the right players. With that said, it's not a weapon you're going to bring into, like, every single situation. I think Le Monarch is more flexible. I think top endgame players would argue Lumina's a better weapon than Le Monarch, but they both serve their own purposes. Malfeasance. On a hunter, it's like high S with Lucky Pants. I don't know, maybe A, like high A, I guess, because it's not as universally accepted as these 3. If it was strictly, if it had the hunter Lucky Pants buff all the time, it would be like an S tier weapon, but yeah, I think with the hand cannon buff and everything, I'll put it high A. All right, chat, Merciless. If you kill an enemy, reload, and then continue damaging the same target to increase its fire rate, it basically gets like a kill clip level bonus plus increased fire rate, so the damage escalates very quickly. Dude, I would argue A because I think it is more niche. It's crazy for damage, but that's pretty much all it's good at. Monte Carlo, I'm going to put in... Jesus. I guess, like, very low C tier. I'm not really sure where that would go. Somewhere down there. It's not... I don't think it's a relevant weapon whatsoever. 1,000 voices, chat. I'd put it in C and probably below, like... I don't know, man. It's really not in a good spot right now. Oh boy, Outbreak. What are we saying, bro? It's like a solid, it's like one of the better exotic primaries. Like I think it would go above Ace of Spades probably. Polaris Lance, chat. Polaris was my goat with the Whisper mission. Dude, it was so good back in the day, man. It's really fun to use, but I'd probably put it like behind 1K in these 3 special weapons. I just don't see many situations where you're using it, but it's not a useless primary. Prometheus Lens. I think it's better. Dude, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Traces actually aren't that bad. It just doesn't feel that much better than a legendary trace rifle. You know what I mean? Rat King. I don't know, man. Probably put it in Y tier, to be honest. Risk Runner, chat. I feel like Risk Runner would be like a solid A option. Risk Runner is really good if you need survivability, and it chains and it auto reloads itself. I'd probably go Risk Runner there. Skyburner's Oath is gonna go directly in Y tier. The gun is just really bad. As for Sleeper Simulant, you could even argue like low A, I guess. The issue is like it's not really used in DPS, and it's a legendary weapon. Like legendary rockets and legendary linear fusion rifles are used over it. Sturm, for PvP, it's a really solid weapon, especially when 120s are around. Now, like, I mean, it's a PvP weapon, so it's just gonna go in Y tier. Sunshot, chat. I think Sunshot would be like an A tier weapon. Probably somewhere like right there. Like, it's already really strong, and it's gonna get better next season. Suros Regime, gonna go down by Hard Light. Not really a reason to use it. Sweet Business, got explosive rounds added, but again, is just more of a meme similar to Rat King. Teraba, chat. Dude, Teraba's such an interesting weapon because it's like easily one of the best weapons in the game if you like build into its playstyle. But it's incredibly situational and changes the way you play. Like, you have to literally keep your primary out at all times to take advantage of it. I don't know why you'd really build into it. I think it's so strong, though, if you build into the playstyle, I'd probably put it, like, very low B. Telesto. Clyde was a huge Telesto enjoyer. I'd probably put Telesto, like, mid-C. It's okay. I'd put Chaperone down in... Y tier, strictly because it's a PvP weapon. Slugs do okay damage in PvE, I guess, but you're never going to use it. Colony is just a straight up Y tier. Huckleberry. I think it's much more versatile than a weapon like Teraba. I think it's better than Ace for sure. Jade Rabbit, solid for PvP again, would go in Y tier in PvE. Last Word, PvP goes into Y tier. Prospector. It's an interesting weapon because it can put out solid burst. It's a very bizarre weapon. I'd put it in the middle of C. I was kind of thinking like under 1K maybe. Queensbreaker, dude, low-key. I've used it. It's not that bad. Queensbreaker there. It's a linear. It does okay damage. It's in the heavy slot, but it also blinds, which is kind of interesting, I guess, but it really doesn't serve much of a purpose. I'd probably put it at the bottom of C. Chat, where would you rate Wardcliff? This is the one that's so weird to me. Like, it's so good against specific bosses. Depends if you're in Redeem or not. That's crazy, bro. Dude, I'm low-key tempted to put it like top of C tier because it at least has niches. Thorn. I feel like Thorn's one of those weapons, like it's not completely useless. It synergizes with like necrotics, I guess, but you're not really gonna use it very many places. I'd maybe put it like there, I guess. I don't know. Oh boy. The weapon of the people, Thunderlord. If you're talking about like a DPS strategy that's like the easiest thing in the world that's still somehow one phase is Ron. Chat, can we do a vote on this one? I don't want to be responsible for the placement of Thunderlord. All right, so Pole is currently at A tier. Probably has more uses than Leviathan's Breath. What are we thinking about Tractor? So we all know that Tractor Cannon gives a larger debuff than Divinity. Would you guys argue that Tractor is actually ranked higher than Divinity? Because in my opinion, I wouldn't, just for the sheer versatility that Div offers in like other content. I would put Tractor in S, and I'd probably put it... I think it would go right below Arbalest. I think Trinity goes above La Monarch and Lumina. Like, once you get the perk rolling, dude, you shoot the ground, and it is just insane. Like, even on adds 20 under power, it is one-shotting with the Chain Lightning. Truth, I think, goes into Y tier. Literally zero reason to run it. Remember when I made the video about Two-Tailed Fox saying it wasn't meta, and then I got a bunch of hate in the comments being like, actually above? Do you ever see anybody running Two-Tailed Fox? It's a good rocket, but do you ever see anybody use it? Honestly, I would argue that it's better than Deathbringer. I definitely think it is, actually. I think it's like a middle-of-the-pack exotic, but you don't have a reason to use it. Wave Splitter, chat. I know Wave Splitter has been going kind of crazy in PvE. I mean, dude, chat, would you take Prometheus Lens or Wave Splitter? Neither. I mean, probably fair, bro. Whisper of the Worm, dude. I hate to say it because it's probably my favorite exotic. Dude, if we were going on status alone, Whisper would be an S+ tier exotic, right? Unfortunately, in the current meta, there is just literally no reason to use it. All right, chat, Wish Ender. I think Wish Ender is above Arbalest by far. I think Wish Ender goes into S+ 100%. Now, where it goes in S+, I'm not sure. A, it's a primary, and it one-shots all red bars to the body in Grandmaster level content. It one-taps all barrier champions as a primary weapon. Yeah, that's honestly fair, Shelly. I think you're right about that. Okay, hold on. I'm actually going to move a couple things. I think Whisper has more use than Darcy and Queensbreaker. So I'll put Whisper there just for paying it its respects. Also, for paying its respects, I'm going to put Worldline 0 there. Oh boy, another fun contentious one. Chat, what about good old Xenophage? The fact that this weapon doesn't have intrinsic unstoppable is like actually criminal. I think Xeno does have significant niches in the game, whether it's like fuses in DSC or oracles in Vogue. Honestly, just solo damage, it can actually pump out some really solid solo damage. I think Xenophage goes like right there. Dude, chat, Bastion. Probably like S, man. You know? It has intrinsic, so not useless. Probably put it above like Worldline 0 or something. What is this weapon even called again, bro? That's where I'm at. I don't even remember the name of the gun. I'm not even a cap. Devil's Ruin, thank you. Doesn't it? It has intrinsic unstop, right? Or does it not? I don't even remember. Not one person uses it. Just put it in Y and move on. Most disconnected PvE tier list I've seen. What are you disagreeing with Cracked Turtle Shell 49? Everything. Okay, so name like 2 or 3 things that you would change. Wish Ender and Div, like what? Why is Anarchy so low? It's 2023, that's why, bro. Let me pull your raid report. Oh no, don't do it, bro. Don't pull the raid report. He's not real. He's not a real human. So anyways, next exotic on the list, where are we putting it? Chat, but hear me out. You could kill your teammates with Symmetry. Does that affect your ranking of the exotic? Can't do that anymore? Oh, then it goes in Y. Okay. All right, 4th Horseman, chat. The absolute, like, speedrun community would use this more than anybody else, and it's really, really good, but it's very niche. I think it's A, but it's probably, like, bottom A. I don't know. This, dude, I just don't know why that gun exists, man. Overshield Andy, chat. I don't think this is a Y weapon. Like maybe over the toaster or something. I feel like Witherhoard's a little niche. Probably like top of C, man. Like something like that. It is easily one of the most used exotics in the entire game. Dude, I think it goes above like honestly, I think it's the best exotic. Yeah, so Ruinous Effigy. Get away from me. That goes in Y tier. It's just they nerfed it and it had no reason to be nerfed. I don't understand it. Cloud Strike, chat. It's one of those weapons that's really solid, but I don't ever really use it. I'd probably put it like there. Duality is mainly a PvP weapon. I don't think anybody really uses it all that much. Okay, no time to explain. PvE weapon or PvP weapon, really good. It's actually not bad in PvE. I've used it before, but it's just eh. Eyes of Tomorrow. I know there's some crazy things you can do to like get your rockets back for free, essentially, right? I think it's like a C tier weapon. Salvation's Grip, I don't even understand the concept. Dude, Salvations is like kind of fun, I guess, but it's like, yeah, dude, its best use is like hitting skips and speedruns, man. Lament. Couldn't you argue it's like near Xeno or above Xeno, potentially? Like, these are really good, but wouldn't you argue you actually use this in more situations? Hawkmoon, PvP weapon. Just gonna throw it somewhere random down here. DMT, same thing. Tiku's Divination, I think, is an interesting one, and now I need to zoom out a little bit because we're out of space. I don't think Tiku's is an A anymore. It's a very good ad clear weapon. I don't think it's on par with either of the other exotic bows, but it's still really good. I also don't think it's on par with either of these other ad clear weapons that are just generally more useful. What do you think? Like right there, chat? That seemed like a good spot. Cryosthesia goes down in Y tier. Literally no purpose for it in the game. It's pretty good in PvP. Other than that, no idea. Vex Mythoclast, chat. Ever since they didn't buff this with the 40% when all the other exotics, they're like, we buffed it early. And then they buffed all the other exotics and then it felt like super mid after. Maybe like high C, like somewhere like that. I think it's more useful than these weapons, but Lawrence Driver, just never gonna use that in PvE. Unbelievably niche. Ager's Scepter, chat, or Ager's Scepter, however you say it. I would probably put Ager's like low S, I think. Because it's very unique on what it can do, and the control's actually insane. Forerunner is actually, I feel like, an underrated weapon, low-key. I think I'm going to put it above Two-Tailed Fox. It's not like a go-to option yet, but when it was like the anti-barrier season with sidearm, it actually does like pretty damn well, and it can cook some majors. Galley. Is Galley the best exotic in the game? Is the question. Does Galley take #1? Yeah, I definitely think at a minimum, Galley is there. Galley literally enables rockets to be just absolutely god tier for both damage and ad clear in every setting. I think it's #2. Where do you guys think Dead Messenger is, chat? In terms of like usability, I would probably put it like right under like Anarchy. Behind Outbreak is okay. Fair placement. I feel, dude, I don't know. I feel like that's really good. What are we saying about Grand Overture, chat? Because I don't use it anywhere. That it does good damage though. That's the thing that's bizarre about Grand Overture. I guess you can make the argument it's probably better than like Deathbringer maybe. All right, this is a very interesting one. Osteostriga, chat. I would say it's either the bottom of S plus or like right above Wishender. I think it's like right in that area. It's very hard to justify primaries in the current sandbox, but these two like do it better than any other in the game. Parasite's actually very useful in niche situations. Again, it's like, it's very similar to Grand Overture. Dude, I'd probably put it over Grand Overture. Collective Obligation, chat. I'll be honest, this is a weapon I don't have a ton of experience with myself, so I'm going to be leaning on the opinion of the community. I'm going to put it top C. That seemed pretty consistent. Heart Shadow, I'm going to put in Y. I feel like it has never got used. Trespasser's actually low-key decent if you've not used it. I would put it above probably those primaries. Dude, honestly, I might even put it above Obligation. Like, Trespasser's really, really strong. I feel like Delicate Tomb's like a C. Like, it's good on Arc Lock, but that's kind of it. All right, chat, where are we putting the GOAT? Quicksilver is not a bad weapon. Y'all are trolling. I don't know if it's better than these ad clear exotics, though. I think this is a good spot, honestly. I think right now, I think it's above Sunshot. I think it gets used more than Sunshot. I think it's better than like Cold Hard and these other exotics. Like it's really solid. Touch of Malice is a weapon of all time. Right now, I think it goes in Y. Hierarchy of needs. Also probably in Y. Really cool exotic concept with both of these guns, and it's like they are fun, but they're so, I don't know, man. They're so average, dude. Revision 0, chat. I don't think it's Y tier. Dude, I don't think you can put it in Y if it has intrinsic barrier, man. Like, it's easily more valuable than a lot of these weapons. You can probably make an argument it even goes a little higher. Like, maybe Revision, like, right there. The Manticore. Overload SMG season, we float and we stun overloads. It's literally free, man. So anyways, we've got the debuffing Void LMG. It's a very cool concept. It's just the issue is like, it's so unnecessary. Chat, the Threadling's sidearm. Winal warning. Bro, come on, man. I don't think it's as bad as the other weapons in Y tier, man. I don't know. I'll put it in C. The Vergless Curve. Hell of an exotic. Goes straight into Y tier. Chat, Winter Bite. I think without the bugs, like, it's a cool idea. I think the ad clear, like the ad clear freeze thing is super cool. It's one of the coolest looking exotics we've had. I definitely think it's like a C tier weapon. I'll probably put it like right there. I think these are like generally useful. This is pretty niche now, especially after the nerf. Conditional Finality, chat. So first of all, I will say it's one of the most fun exotics in the game for me personally. It is unbelievably good. It destroys majors. 2 different forms of intrinsic unstop, by the way. Technically intrinsic barrier as well, because you can freeze the barriers. You guys think it's better than Osteo? I think it's behind Wishender generally. Vexcalibur, chat. I think it's above Y personally. I think it's like I think it's a C weapon. Like maybe like there or something. That is everything for what's on the tier list itself. Centrifuge, which is the it's the Arc seasonal AR from this season. Do you guys think it wins out against Ace or Huckleberry or Outbreak or any of those weapons, or Teraba even? So you guys would really put Centrifuge basically where Dead Messenger is. Is that kind of what you're thinking? For the sake of this, I think for my opinion, it would go below Huckleberry. Actually, I think it would go below Ace, because I think next season, Ace is going to be low-key insane. Next up, chat, we have the Navigator. And this one's really bizarre because what the gun does is insane. But I don't know if it actually gets used that much. I feel like Navigator then would go like, for me, maybe... I guess we'll put it right below Malfeasance. For what it can do, it's incredibly unique. And last but not least, chat, we have Wicked Implement. It's the brand new Stasis Scout Rifle, 180 Scout from the new secret mission. And I think it goes straight into Y. But above, it can stun all 3 champion types, bro. The damage is so bad. There's so many more efficient ways, especially with like all the different ways that you can stun champions with like just intrinsically with abilities now, and like all of the meta weapons that are on this list higher up. It goes straight into the Y tier for me. And that is all 107 Destiny 2 exotics ranked in a PVE tier list. I want to give a huge shout out to those of you who made it to the end of the video, and be sure to comment down below on which ones you think we got right, and if there are any you think that we got wrong. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you did enjoy, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!